up, nation? Hope you're having an awesome Thursday. My name is Philip DeFranco, and this is where I talk about news and top stuff and things that matter to me today. But 2 quick updates before we jump into everything. 1, do not get used to these clothes. I have to do a thing for a thing. I'm a graphic tee kind of guy. And 2, for those of you that have been demanding it for the next 24 hours until we sell out, cold-ass honky shirts are back on sale. Link to that down below. But let's jump into the first story of the day. And the first thing I want to talk about is Maxis and EA may have some splaining to do. They, of course, launched the new SimCity. There were those huge problems where people couldn't connect to the servers, but they were like, guys, we have to use the servers. Yes, it is in part a form of DRM to make sure you're not trying to steal our product, but you have to connect to our servers, otherwise you can't do the awesome stuff in the game. Essentially saying, our game is so awesome, your computer can't even handle it by itself. Part of that was because you needed that server's processing power to be able to handle the over 100,000 individual Sims in your city. That each one of those Sims up to 100,000 were unique and had their own days. Except people started saying, no, that wasn't true. People showed video evidence of Sims leaving one home, just going to the first place of work they could find, and then returning to whatever home was first available. And there was no intelligence of Sims on an individual level because they would just take whatever road was the shortest distance, but not the fastest. So are we really utilizing the processing power of your server? But through all of this, they stayed adamant that you cannot play this game offline. You need that server to offload a significant number of calculations. But today in walks in a modder with video proof showing that he can play the game offline. You do not need the server. In order to achieve this offline state, the guy had to edit the game code to enable debug mode. That's there so developers can tinker with the code, test out new things. But on the consumer version of the games, once debug mode is put into place, you don't actually have to be online anymore. In fact, it's being reported that it improves the game in some ways. No problem. City populations are actually tracked correctly, and if you're feeling like really claustrophobic because everything seems smaller, you can now edit outside of city boundaries. So far, reportedly, the only negative is that you cannot save the game, but once you do get to another internet connection, it will save, because the main thing is that the saves are on a cloud. Also, before you're like, Phil, no, you can only be offline for 20 minutes. No, that was in the earlier version. You can now be offline as long as you'd like. So what we have here is the question, did EA and Maxis lie? Potentially, and it is a huge deal because DRM is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And all these guys have to do is get people used to it. So if the first time they give you something like this, they're like, hey, yeah, it's kinda sort of a DRM, but the main thing is you need the servers to process the awesomeness of this game. Guys, this is the future, and not just us trying to make sure that you don't steal our shit. Because if that was the only reason that we did this, it would be extremely inconvenient to the people that actually did pay money. I know you're like, what, a giant corporation lied to a person? For what, money? Well, I never. It's so shocking. But until EA and Maxis finally do release a statement, I will reserve some judgment. What I will say is right now, it is leaning towards huge dick move. Then, internet, you work scary fast. Yesterday I talked about how there was a Kickstarter for Veronica Mars. They wanted to make a movie. Kristen was down. Everyone else was down. $700,000 was pledged when I filmed it. It was like $900,000 when we posted it, and this morning it was like $2.6 million. So long story short, unless some huge bomb is dropped, Veronica Mars is going to be made into a movie. Congratulations! Also, it'll be very interesting to see how much money will go to this, because on top of all the diehard fans, it's getting people like me who had no idea what Veronica Mars was, like, into the know. I started watching season 1. I'm addicted. Granted, it is cheesy at times, but it's kind of just lovable cheesy. Plus, once again, main point, Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell. Actually, just for good measure, if you are not an appreciator of Kristen Bell, or you are, link to a gift gallery of the fantastic Kristen Bell below. And then one of the most requested stories from you guys was you want me to talk about the new Pope, and the man who was elected was Jorge Bergoglio, who will actually be known as Pope Francis. I don't know how they go about picking their Pope names, but I like to think of it like it's a rapper's alias. And maybe he named himself the same way Donald Glover did, which was to go to a website and enter into a name generator. He got Childish Gambino, he got Pope Francis. Although there would have been something fantastic about Pope Jorge. I feel like that would have confused a lot of white people in America, and that'd be great. But the big thing a lot of people wanted me to address about Pope Francis is that he doesn't like gay marriage. A Catholic man elected Pope doesn't appreciate gay marriage? Next thing you're gonna tell me is like high-level Nazis back in the day hated Jews. It's expected. I mean, obviously, does it bother me that he said stuff like waging battle against gay marriage is, quote, a war of God? Does it also annoy me that in 2010 he asserted that gay adoption was a form of discrimination against children? Yeah, which is one of the reasons I didn't want to talk about the guy in the first place. I will say, hey, positive, even though he doesn't support contraception in general, he does say that it should be used to prevent disease. And I kind of dig that he seems somewhat humble. He doesn't want to ride around in the Pope-mobile. A while ago, he recommended to his people not to go to Rome to celebrate, but to take that money and donate it to the poor. And of course, the super main point, he's not my guy and doesn't affect my way of life. The Pope affects my daily life as much as Justin Bieber. But a question to the Catholics and other religious people out there, what do you think of the new Pope? Same old, same old? Do you think that there's progress here? Do you believe in any of the accusations of war crimes against the man. And my final note on this story is I still believe that I would be a fantastic pope. It'd be all yoga pants and sweatpants and ice cream and, oh hey, today's Pie Day. As well as another holiday that men try to make a real thing, which is Steak and Blowjob Day. I personally like the mindset of my girlfriend after I texted her, Happy Steak and Blowjob Day. That quote, Steak and Blowjob Day shouldn't be a day, but a year-round state of mind. And that is why I am a monogamous. And the final thing I want to talk about today is our douchebag of the day, Mr. Kurt Myers. Kurt was a 64-year-old man of Mohawk, New York. Neighbors described him as a recluse who never really had anyone over. He had no known family, and really the only thing people knew about him was that he would drink alone at the bar down the street. And Kurt had quite a day. At 9:30 in the morning, he burned his house down. From there, Myers drives around the corner, goes to John's barbershop, shotgun in hand, walks through the door, and reportedly asks the owner, do you know me? The owner says, yes, Kurt, how are you? And that's when he reportedly opened fire, killing 2 customers, critically wounding the owner and 1 other customer. Witnesses at the scene saying Myers looked methodical and calm. He then gets back into his car and goes to a quick lube and car wash. Here he kills 2 more people. Having now killed 4 people and wounding 2, he finds an abandoned storefront, breaks in, and that's where he's gonna hold down for a long time. Police find him, they exchange fire, and then it goes quiet. Police send in a robotic camera. Myers remains silent. They don't know what to do, so then they send in dogs. Myers opens fire on the dogs, killing 1 of them. This results with a gun battle with police continuing until Myers is shot and killed. And to make an already terrible situation weird, there seems to be no motive behind it. The governor described the rampage as inexplicable, saying there was no apparent rational motive to the best of our knowledge at this time to provoke these attacks. And the main thing, obviously, you want to get across is my thoughts go out to those that were killed and their family. But the larger conversation that this will turn into is once again gun control. It's a constantly evolving, talked about topic in America, but there is a difference in this. The weapon of choice many people have been going after is the assault rifle, the AR-15. But Kurt Myers used a shotgun, a weapon you may remember during my interview with Joe Biden he recommended I buy.
Guess what? A shotgun will keep you a lot safer. A double-barrel shotgun than the assault weapons in somebody's hand.
As if at the end of the day that truly changed anything. And these are the people that are trying to reform gun law. And that's why I once again believe that even though there's not many people that are like, yeah, save the AR-15, when people want to slowly change and mold what happens, they go after the smallest group of people and then slowly come here until they have you by the balls. But ultimately what we have is a terrible story and no answers. At least not now, who knows if ever. And I guess the main thing I want to get across isn't the gun law thing. I think it's more of you never know when this is gonna happen. So enjoy your life, love one another, try not to be shitty towards other people, and just live it. And I think I want to end on that note and bring you to the question of the day today, which is a much lighter question. With Veronica Mars now having a movie, are there any other old shows that you're like, yeah, there should totally be a Kickstarter, and maybe they do another series or they make another movie? If you could only pick one, what would it be? Let me know in the comments down below. Remember to possibly be pelted with $50 worth of stuff from 4humanpeoples.com. Leave a comment down below, join the conversation, maybe hit the like button, favorite if you really like it. But as always, my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you Saturday.